right, we are live for MidLife Live number 8, August edition. We are bringing back the original crew, Tony, Southern Collector 14, Darren, Return to Collecting, and the one and only Mike Petty. Just to give everybody a time to check back in, let's take a little look again at the promo.
All right, MidLife Live number 8 is going to be a banger. We will be joined by Darren, Return to Collecting.
It'd be like if you hired a stockbroker and it's like, hey, the market's up 20%. I performed at like 8%. I just think that was the stupidest video ever. And it's because of guys like him that are like completely full of crap. I want to be an influencer. That is terrible, terrible, terrible advice. I wanted in a 10. Like, I could have explained sports card collecting to my 3-year-old niece, but doesn't really know anything about sports cards. If you gave me no advice, I'd be better off. Right? No advice, I'd be better off. Right? He focuses on investment value, but can never pick cards that go up in value. Advice as if he's like the Warren Buffett of sports cards, but you know, he's really like, you know, the Bernie Madoff of sports cards.
Oh boy, we're getting the gang back together, and that means Tony, the Southern Collector, will be joining us as well.
Mike Petty could take a dump, and all y'all would go, Mike Petty takes a dump so good. How do you even know that's a real card? Because I trust PSA. There's no way that card's fake. No, I'm like an elephant. I don't forget, Petty. We're getting into a lane that you freaking love. I got something for you. Shut your freaking trap.
But when I'm with my cards, I am carefree like a 12-year-old.
What are you going to do about it? No, I got to take my blood pressure pill. Do you feel better now? I had an out-of-body experience right there.
You know what this means? It means that rounding out the crew will be Mike Petty.
Oh there, beaver feet, it's me in the flesh.
What do you say there, liver lips?
And I paid way overbooked for this. Joker Smile, Carnival Barker, he's an unpaid shill. I'm a very positive guy, because you know I'm a Hall of Fame commenter. Let's face it, with the fat, pudgy fingers. I hope Santa Claus comes down the chimney December 25th. I don't like my shitter full. I told people 10 years ago this was $1 billion fraud.
The original group coming back together again. MidLife Live number 8 will definitely be one you won't want to miss.
All right. So needless to say, I've been looking forward to this for a while. I've been looking forward to this all day. Let's start by bringing Darren on out. Now, Darren, I've got to tell you, buddy, you've kind of let your hair down recently, and I really like what I've seen.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, you're just kind of letting loose. You're hitting your stride.
Thank you. It took 3 years, I guess, but yeah.
Next, we got Tony. There he is. No wig tonight, but hey, you got the Tennessee hat at least, right?
I did, yeah. You know, I literally let my hair down. It was fake hair. But it came out. It was flowing that day. So, yeah, that was a fun one. You just plastered it all over the place. But, man, that was fun. That was a good day.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right, here he is, Mr. Mike Petty. How you doing, buddy?
What do you say there, horsey face? How are you, kids?
We're doing great. I started my school year on students showed up on Thursday. So why not just say, hey, back to work, long days right now. It's a perfect time to schedule a MidLife Live. So this is going to be a good one. We've got a lot on the agenda. I have some topics that I think are going to be extremely interesting. I will start hitting the chat here in a second. There are already 90 people in the chat. Thank you for all of you that have shown up. Let's get right into this. So let me get myself out of the way here, and we will take a look at what we're going to be doing. So the first thing that we're going to take a look at here is the National itself. So I feel like since we haven't really talked and caught up since the National, we should at least acknowledge the fact that the National took place. And my question to you all was, how was your experience at the National? Was it better than expected? Was it worse than expected? And to my surprise, actually, I was actually surprised by this. Darren apparently hated the National. So, Darren, why did you hate the National?
No. So going there, I had really high expectations, and it lived up to all my expectations. So it was as expected.
Okay.
So I had a great time. I knew it was going to be awesome, and it was.
Now, Petty, you hadn't been to a National, and tell us again, how long has it been since you've been to
1991. That was a lot of years. What, not 34 years, maybe?
And you said you were going to be a one and done. You said, I'll do this, but come on, it's what the heck. But now I'm starting to feel like maybe you're warming up to coming back.
I will. I like it. I don't think all my business was done there. I mean, I had a really good time, better than expected. And then, in retrospect, when you get home, you're just tired as hell. I was sick. I'm still shaking the cobwebs from that. So that was I don't know, a 2-week sickness. A lot of people have the same issue. So I don't know. It's just I think I have to plan a little better. I need to stay an extra day, and not try to rush myself out of the gate.
I think you did what I did this year is we kind of treated it more of like the Strongsville, get in, do our thing for a couple days, get out, early in, early out. And I'm thinking that maybe that was a mistake because I've already booked my hotel, and I booked it for, I don't know if my dad knows this yet. I don't know, Dad, if you're in the chat, but I booked it for Wednesday all the way to Sunday. So I haven't cleared that with my wife. I haven't cleared that with my dad, who will be with me. But that's kind of what we're thinking. And then Tony, you showed up with you came home with a big card that you weren't expecting to come home with.
Yeah.
Is that one of those things where it's just when the opportunity presents itself, you just take advantage of the opportunity?
Yeah, it was stupid. But yeah, I knew he had the card, and when I saw it, it just kind of called out to me. And yeah, so yeah, I bought the card, and
you're
I'm
a sucker
glad
for
I got
best wishes.
When it says best wishes on there, and I knew Petty would love it. So honestly, awesome. I should have put much better than expected. I went a little down, but yeah, it was awesome. It was only my second National ever. And, I knew people this time. It was so different. Last year, I only knew Tim. This year, I kept meeting people that either watched my channel or fellow content creator guys. And it was like a big family reunion.
Well, the only downside really was the YouTube party, and that didn't really happen. And, I like to say, well, look what it did for Tony. I mean, he got to meet, in a year, look what he did. That could have been, we missed out on that. So we definitely got to go back again and make that right and get that party rolling again, because that truly is the highlight of the National. When it comes right down to it, the shopping's great. You see people there, but you're just so, you're so darn just caught up in what you're doing and going back and forth and meeting people that you can't give the people the time that the relationship, one-on-one deserves.
Yeah.
And anyway, so that it would have been much better than expected had that gone off as planned.
Yeah, that was a bummer. And speaking of, there's Mike right there. It's one of those things where I think that we've just gotten to the point where it's grown to a point where they notice that it's not just a few guys hanging out.
Yeah, and there must have been 200 people there.
And the National has changed hands and who's running it. And, they're changing, what they're allowing and not allowing. But now we know what we're dealing with. And in the future, that's what we're going to do. Mike's saying right there, he'll make it right next year. I have no doubt that next year it'll be awesome. I'm bummed out a little bit about the fact that there were some people I had said, hey, guys, this is the best place to meet up with me.
Yeah.
And then we didn't get to meet up. Yeah. But that's life. Life happens. And it's, it is what it is.
And so, we made everybody made the best out of it, what we could. And it was just move on, live and learn.
Now, there are some people talking about Strongsville in the chat, talking about getting their rooms for Strongsville. I know I'm pretty sure that the four of us have all already booked our rooms for Strongsville. Darren, you haven't booked your room?
I called them and they didn't have any.
You need to call Chris. Call
Okay.
Chris.
Yeah.
Chris has got a block.
If I can't get a room, I'll just like rent a house or something nearby.
You could always stay with me. I got a suite.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So here is my next question, which is kind of along these same sort of lines. And my next question to you guys was, you can only pick one, the National and Strongsville. Now, I know we've talked about that before. I know we've shared opinions on that before. But this year, Tony went to the National in a completely different circumstance than he went to it last year. Strongsville was more similar in the fact that he had some connections at Strongsville that he didn't have at the National last year. So I thought, would that make it different? Petty hadn't been to a National in a long, long time. So I was curious on your guys' thoughts on this. And again, the odd man out is Darren. So Darren, I totally respect it.
We need to get him back on his Wellbutrin.
Darren, I totally respect it. Why? Tell us, even after everything, tell us why the National over Strongsville if you can only pick one.
Because I don't have a room at Strongsville. No, I'm kidding. I would go with the National because there's more people there that I want to see. Like, there's a lot of people that I want to see at Strongsville, but this more or less the same people are at the National plus more, so that's good. And primarily why I would pick the National over Strongsville is my dad and brother go to the National and they don't go to Strongsville.
Well, they're closer to Strongsville. And
but they've got they have that in April every year. My brother and his wife and baby go down to my parents' house for my niece's birthday.
Tell them to buy a house in Strongsville.
Over by that restaurant.
Yeah, I was gonna say it probably wouldn't be too expensive, but especially over that restaurant.
I mean, it is probably relatively affordable, but I know that Lou Rock was saying that a lot of the Misfit guys were thinking about getting the same house that they rented for the National last year. And I definitely think this thing is growing. I do know that, again, Chris from Missouri did get a block of rooms. There's only so many. And I know he's committed to those. So I don't know how many are left, but reach out to Chris.
Chris,
if you're still looking for something. Yeah, Chris, hold one for Darren, Chris.
If you have a spare, I'll take it.
You could always stay with Lou Rock and the Misfits out there.
I don't
they
think
have a big house again, the same house. Only I looked it up on Airbnb. I said, maybe I'll stay out there with those guys. And I said, I know I'm going to spend time there. And then I saw it holds 8 people. They've got one shower in that place.
Really?
And it's like 40 acres. I go, no, I don't think I'm staying with 8 guys with one shower. And who knows about, how I am with the shitter.
Yeah.
Can't have the shitter
you don't
full.
like it when it's full. I know that.
I need it within walking distance.
Yeah.
So I just like the camping next door at the Bed Bugs Inn and being able to walk right back and forth. It's really key for me.
So Tony,
Constitution.
Tony, tell us your opinion on this question on the screen right here. Does Strongsville have as many dealers that aren't at the National? How would you answer that, Tony?
I mean, a lot of the dealers that are at Strongsville are at the National. The ones, they're really good ones. I'm sure there's a few there that aren't at the National, but who would know? I mean, they're so spread out. That's the beauty of it. It's all concentrated right there in that hockey rink. But, with me, I'm doing this channel and everything just to have community. So that's the ultimate trip for community because everybody's in the hotel. You're kind of hanging out at the get-togethers. You got the little bar down there, and it's just fun to see everybody and hang out. So yeah, it's the ultimate for me. It's just because you get to see everybody and hang out.
And you can get out to breakfast with 10 people, and then you drive 5 minutes. And then go to lunch with another group. It works out really well that way as far as being able to see and mingle with more people.
Yeah.
Man, Jeannie's saying there are at least 2 bathrooms.
Yeah, there's 2 bathrooms. One is a half a bathroom. You can downstairs. The other one is one shower. Unless you have 3 guys in the fucking shower, probably a 25-gallon water tank in the winter. I don't need it. Trust me, I need my hot water. I need space, baby, space.
Yeah, it was interesting because it was in April. It's in April, and I'm used to California weather, so I showed up in just shorts and t-shirts, and it was actually kind of cold this year. I was like, "What is this? This is crazy."
Well, you never know what you're gonna get there. Yeah.
No.
All right. Next thing I've got is I asked this question to each of you, and I asked you to give me your opinion instead of from a multiple choice. It was I want a direct quote, and you all went with some interesting answers. So we'll start off with Tony. So Tony, I like that hat. It looks just like the one on the screen.
This is a new one. That's my old one. This is a new one.
There you go.
Looks just like the old one though.
Bob Boozle makes a great point about community building.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at what Tony said. By the way, Steve Clifton is in the chat. Steve, I gave you a shout out today for your gift. Thank you, my friend. All right. What's the biggest threat to the hobby? Tony says, not actually Jeff Wilson, but the doctrine of people like him.
Yeah.
What is the doctrine of Jeff Wilson?
That it's all about a get rich quick scheme. I mean, if you're opening packs, that video of him and his son spoke so much to me. Like his son didn't care about it was all about what can I buy? What can I flip? They don't know about the players. They don't know about the history. And if you don't know, and I look, when I was a kid, I did, but I guess kids are maybe a little different. But if you are collecting, if you're breaking packs and sitting there breaking up boxes, trying to get the big hit, it's Vegas. It's a slot machine. You're going to lose. And if you lose enough, you're leaving the hobby. And we need those kids around one day when I'm old and using a walker so they'll buy my cards. So we need them to stay in the hobby. I need the wig. I got the wig right beside me if I need to put it on.
You got to have that wig.
I'm saving that for a special event. But yeah, it cannot continue the way it is with Fanatics. They're marketing to kids as a way to get rich. And you can't do that. You just can't do it. It's not sustainable. So that's the biggest threat.
So, and I agree with that, Tony. So just as a side, I went to Cards HQ when I was in Atlanta for a business trip. I went to Cards HQ, and I walked by the breaker area. There was no one there, but there was a huge, like 10-gallon, 15-gallon huge trash can next to the table, and it was completely full of brand new cards.
That's terrible.
Unless it's a Kaboomy, numbered at a 0, they just throw them in the trash. Literally, they threw them
because
in
they can't mail them. It's too expensive to mail all that junk.
And then
so
the other thing,
they're filling up landfills with heavy metals.
And they're charging a freaking fortune for these boxes that people are trying to get rich off of. Kids can't afford to buy baseball cards. It was just in Greg's video today. If you watched it, just a little plug about there's boxes now just sitting there on the shelves because nobody's buying them. They're too freaking expensive. Kids aren't going to be afford them. If you live with a single mother, single father situation, maybe your parents don't make a lot of money. You can't go to the grocery store and get a 50-cent pack like we did, or a 10-cent pack, or in Petty's days, a 2-cent pack. So you can't do it. So it's just going to kill the hobby.
Right.
They got to make it more.
You can't buy a pack of Ramley cigarettes and get a card with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to argue with. I'm anxious to see what the hell I said.
Well, speaking of, let's look at what you said, Mr. Petty.
Well, hold on a second. I'm not against the modern hobby. I'm not against it. I'm against pitching it to them to where that's all they know. Okay. I'm gonna
tell you. Let me tell you a story. So when I was growing up, we would go up to Lake Tahoe like once a summer, and I remember there's an escalator you would take down underground. You'd walk under the street from Harvey's and Harrah's at State Line in Las Vegas, and as you'd go up and down the escalator, on the wall there was picture after picture after picture, like an 8x10 of people holding these checks that said like $35,000, and I'm like, $50,000, $150,000. And I remember as a kid going, oh my gosh, I can't wait. This is going to be amazing, And when that's all you see and that's what you advertise, then everybody thinks, they get delusional that that's going to be your reality. So one of the problems with editing of all these videos is we don't see all the packs that get crap.
Exactly.
We just see the big hits, and then we go, that's going to happen to me.
Or go to the horseshoe and see $1 million cash laid out right in front of you. Take a picture with it. That's my, I can feel it. I've got the fever. Yeah, I mean, something has to give, but I mean, mystery packs and is ruling this hobby right now. It's really, with the liquidity, has a lot to do with all the money being brought in. I do believe. But
all right, let's go ahead and take a look at what Petty said, because it's similar, but maybe a little bit more colorful.
Sure. Simple yet complex.
Petty says breaking mystery packs, disingenuous carnival barkers, fraudulent activities, and never-ending scams and lowlifes. So
I mean, it sounds good to me. I like the way that rolls off.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, actually.
Yeah. I don't know what else more can I say.
I mean, yeah. You said it.
I mean, the mystery packs we need them right now. I mean, I think that is driving a lot of the money and a lot of the buying. And a lot of the smarter dealers and even modern, I know this from autographs. Like, for instance, the people who used to sell fake autographs, right, back in the day, they would sell all their fakes. And what would they do with it? They would buy the real Mickey Mantles. They would buy the real Babe Ruths. So they knew what they were doing. I think a lot of people too they buy the moderns, then they've learned how to flip it and they deal in it, and then they buy the vintage, or they're buying items that are more scarce and more acceptable to the hobby, and that will always be. I like to joke that everybody always says, last night we were joking, I never saw that guy play. You know, it's weird. They make that argument. And it has to be one of the dumbest arguments I've ever seen. Yeah. I mean, I never seen Picasso paint. I never saw Rembrandt paint.
No.
I mean, maybe I shouldn't have a Rembrandt.
I never watched Twain on the typewriter either. So, or with his quill or whatever he used. No. Darren, let me ask you something. Darren, why, in your opinion, have mystery packs not blown up for vintage? I mean, why not stick some big time Ty Cobbs or Babe Ruth cards or Mickey Mantle cards? What is the reason that they've gone crazy with mystery packs with glitter cards, but not with vintage cards? Or is that coming?
I mean, it might be coming. I mean, I think the difference is, for like you said, right? The kids don't know about the players. They just are trying to find the cards, right? And if you have a mystery pack of modern stuff, they find the card. Like, you don't need to know anything about it if it's like red or black around it, or it says 1 of 1, or even nicer, some of those ones actually spell out 1 of 1, right? Versus using the numeral. Like, they know that they've got a good card, right? Versus, typically vintage collectors, they have an idea at a minimum of what they're buying and what they want to buy and why they want to buy it, right? And it's not just to find something that they could pay less that's worth more. So I don't think, like, for me, somebody said, hey, I've got a mystery pack and you have a chance of getting this big card and the pack of cards is like $2,000. I'd say that's great. I'd rather just spend the $2,000 and buy.
It's really no mystery.
That I want.
What you're getting is dog shit on a stick.
Right.
No,
I don't
somebody else's crap. It's somebody else's crap that they don't want, that somebody just bought and repacked and rebranded as real.
Exactly. If it's a good
piece of shit.
Yeah, if it's a good card, like
polishing a diamond.
Somebody's not going to be like, hey, I'm going to throw a 52 Topps Mantle into one of these mystery packs just so somebody can get a big hit, right? That's not going to happen. Right? So
you don't have to.
Is the vintage and to Robert's comment here, is the vintage mystery pack just one of these breaks where the thing I like about the breaks, at least, and I've not participated in any of them, and I know a lot of people have, a lot of people in this chat I know have, is at least you have a checklist. At least you see exactly what cards are available. You see the best card, you see the worst card, you see every single option in front of you. When you're buying into it, you see the whole thing.
I'm not even really against a what I would call a break of that kind, where you have 150 spots and you have 150 cards, and you're just basically, rolling the dice. You're not buying a team, you're not bidding on a spot, you're not doing any of that shit.
Yeah.
But so that's at least fair. Like, what happened to these breaks where you just sign up for a flat fee for $100 per spot, whatever the spot is. You have 30 packs or 10, and nowadays you have 8 packs for $3,000, and you have 5 cards in each pack. The box is this big, but you have like 3 cards in it with an autograph of some dope that plays in quadruple A in Palmdale, California, that has a signature that looks like an X, like he's fucking Joe Jackson. But basically, and you're paying all this money for it. I don't get it.
Man, don't talk about Joe Jackson.
Why would you be bidding on a team though? How about you just bid on a pack? You have 5 packs.
I agree with
you
Rick.
have 5 spots.
Buy the card you want.
Exactly.
Why gamble it? Just buy the card you want, right?
Bottom line is people are just, look, guys, the dumbing down of America has been happening for quite a while.
Ash is doing the break in an above board way. You can actually go on a Zoom and they do that spinny wheel on every spot, and you can
see your name.
You get to see every
unlike
spot.
The Polypalooza, when you spend $500 and you have your name.
Oh, here we go with this crap again.
And you see your name once. But you spend the same, and you have your name 40 times. I have my name once.
All right, so I want to just a little bit of housekeeping issues here. We've crossed over the 200 people in the chat barrier. That's a big number. That's a big number. That when we hit 200, we've been somewhere between 203 and 196 for the last few minutes. So everybody who has shown up, I really appreciate it.
I'll drink to
comments. If you have comments, if you have things that you want to ask, again, throw them in the chat. I'll be zipping through those. Let's hear from Darren. So what did Darren have to say on this topic? Darren said,
I don't remember.
The younger generation not being interested in vintage is the biggest threat. Now, is that something that you think is going to happen, Darren? Do you actually think that at the younger generation, when they get older, they'll still care about the modern players and the Joe Burrows? Or do you think at some point they'll go back to Cobb and Ruth and Gehrig? And what do you actually think they're going to do when they get older?
So my answer is sort of, if Tony and Petty's answer was the cause, mine's the effect, right? So they get into collecting. They're trained that to do what they need to do, and they're trained that, look, you need to buy packs and find these cards and do these breaks and those other shit. Then they get tired of it. They're like, I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm done. Then they get out of the hobby, and then as they get older, people are like, oh yeah, did you ever collect baseball cards? Yeah, I hated it because I spent a bunch of money. I didn't make any money, and basically the way I learned about the hobby was to gamble, right? So then they're less interested in it later, right? Like if you get burned on, you're not going to go back to it later. So yeah, exactly, Mookie. You're right. So
to Jeff's point, I know the difference between Greg Brady and Marsha Brady. I'm all in on Marsha. I'm all in on Marsha Brady.
Marsha.
Yeah.
So Darren, you just think that, basically at some point kids have to start caring about the history and not just the shiny object in front of them.
Right. And there's nothing, there really isn't anything pushing them that way that they probably think are interesting, right? Like one of my buddy's sons, he collects, and he's all literally, he'll text me, I broke this pack and I got this Mahomes card, and I'm like, nice. He goes, what's it worth? I'm like, why? He's like, I'm going to get it graded. I'm going to sell it. I'm like, dang, bro, you got to appreciate it. So then he came over the other day, and I showed him some of my cards, and he basically said,
so for people listening, hold on. Finish your thought, then let me read the comment on the screen for people listening, not watching, and then you can respond to it. So first, finish your thought.
Sure. Yes. But then he's like, so I showed him some cards, and he was like, No, I mean, I was showing him some Gowdy Ruths, right? He likes football, so I showed him the Beecher. But then he's like, how much are they worth? And I'm like, well, let's not worry about that. He goes, no, how much are they worth? So I told him what one was worth. Then suddenly he seemed to have interest in it. But it's like, well, if that's all you're interested in, then you're not going to be a collector someday. You're going to still, even if you stay doing it, you're going to just be an investor and lose a bunch of money.
All right. So the comment on the screen, I think, is a really interesting thought. So it says, with all due respect, Darren is wrong. I'd bet nearly 100% of people collecting vintage now weren't collecting it as a kid. Many will become interested as they get older. So what's your response to that, Darren?
Couple things. One, I guess the first one is, when we were younger and we collected new cards, we collected it for a different reason and they were less expensive. And we just slowly moved into vintage, right? Now these kids, it's like they're not collecting it to be collectors. They're collecting it to make money. And then for the second part of it, I don't know what percent. When I was a kid, I collected vintage cards and new cards. So
I did too.
I mean, I remember when
I always wanted older cards.
For like my 10th birthday, I got the manager's dream card with Maze and Mantle, and I mean that.
So here's the difference. Okay, again, this is the whole perspective thing. When we were kids, everything we opened, they were guys we watched on TV or on the baseball bunch or whatever it was. We'd open those cards and they were all base cards. We weren't chasing numbers. Okay. We didn't even know about that. If you had a Beckett, there was 3 columns. That was it. You kind of like to see what they were worth. But what we really wanted was the stuff on the cover of the Beckett. And that was a 52 Mantle, a Hannes Wagner, a Ty Cobb. That was our pinnacle when we were kids. We wanted those. We could never afford them. I never dreamed I'd own one. But that was our pinnacle. Their pinnacle is a Shohei Ohtani 1 of 1 or some kind of Tom Brady card or a Michael Jordan, even that's vintage now. But you see what I'm saying? Their pinnacles are different than our pinnacles. I'm not sure that's going to cross over. I think it will, because as we get older, we do look back in the past with fondness and we want to learn more about where we came from. And so it causes us to look back the older we get. It's in our DNA. I don't think humans are going to change that way, but they may look back at shiny stuff from 1995. I mean,
well, 3/4 of the people, if they continue to collect the way they're collecting now, I can tell you with these mystery packs, and it's only a matter of time until they get blown up, right? So either they continue to make money their entire life, or it is going to lead to divorce and bankruptcy. And there's no other way around it. Eventually, if they keep going. And so they will have a bad taste in their mouth. And probably, unless they recover in a 10, 20-year period, they're never come like me. It took me until I was maybe 50 to recover, from my divorce and things of that age. So this is where they're heading, losing all their money that they don't have. They're playing a different game than we're playing right now.
The other thing I'll say is there are some kids. I mean, this is Finley and Jason, and one of the highlights of the National for me was getting to meet Finley and see the excitement in her eyes. And
that was awesome.
There are young kids who are collecting vintage, and I remember in California we have all these missions that the Catholic Church did. Junipero Sarah was doing a lot of missionary stuff up the West Coast, and they were building missions and they were trying to expand the Catholic Church in California. And I remember going on this mission field trip with Lucy, my youngest, and she walked in and she saw some of these artifacts in the mission. And she's like, is this from like way back when they were doing this? And I'm like, yeah. And she was like blown away at seeing this actual artifact that was like, a couple 100 years old or 150 years old. Like, it just absolutely blew her mind. And there are some people wired that way. But at the same time, I do have to give the credit to the comment. I collected some vintage as a kid. I did. And I was interested in it. But to me, vintage was like late 70s,
And you couldn't get your hands on it, though.
You couldn't get your hands on it.
Even if you had the money.
For sure. And, Rick, there are people wired that way, but I also think that it is a fair point that a lot, not all, not 100%, but a lot of people start with modern and then they kind of start going backwards, you know, and
And as these people start to grow up and they age and they become people with means, let's say they become successful in their careers, they do everything, and they get their kids and raise their families and their kids off to college. And I think that's the time when you have a more expendable income, and you start looking at, well, if this is your hobby, maybe you will look for some of the more important artifacts of the hobby, much like you would if you collected art. I think there's a lot of similarity, or if you collect memorabilia, if you have a I'm sorry.
I agree. And
I mean, I don't know.
So I'll be honest with you guys. When I was putting together kind of the topics for tonight, all this stuff so far was kind of like the lightweight stuff. That was the warm up. That was the appetizer for the last two things I want to talk about. So in my opinion, the meat and potatoes are
220. 221 I see now.
We're at 221, which Dan's been keeping track of the record. That might be the new record, Dan. You let us know.
Thanks, Dan.
Let's take a look at this next topic, because I want to mention something that Petty said the other day. And I think this is really interesting.
I really want to break away from SGC because I just feel like there's a window of opportunity right now, to get rid of their stuff. And I'm going to try to get rid of as much as I can within reason. I mean, some of my nicer stuff, I'm certainly going to keep it. Looks better in their holders. Not going to totally panic, but on certain things, I just want to tighten up my collection and get rid of some of their shit, because I really got a bad taste in my mouth. I was one of the first adopters of SGC, and I love them over the years. Sent a lot of cards to them, and as they grew, I bought my Mickey Mantle in an SGC.
Oh, really?
When that was a question mark. People go, well, why would you do that and not PSA? Because I believed in them. And that, so it took me to that level. But now look at them. They get bought by the competition. And now they're a boutique, which is with no money being put in. I mean, if you just can't read the writing on the wall there.
Okay, so Petty, let me ask you first. Do you stand by that? Those comments? Do you continue to feel that way about your thinking about getting rid of some of your SGC stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, I just feel that look, PSA and collectors, they are not an above board company. Okay. They are the head of the snake. In fact, you asked your chat, I noticed today, what are some of the things what have they thought? And a very wise man, the coach, once said, collectors, they're the ones to watch out for, as far as like what could be the caving in of the hobby. It could very well be them, because they do things that should never be acceptable in business. They charge you based on how much your card is worth, not for their service. Like, why would they take cuts? They are the only MFers that win every damn time a card is graded. Half the shit that these idiots are getting graded right now is worth half as much before they even get it back. They get billed and driven up. And so like that's helping propping the prices up as well, because then they're selling it, for that higher price. And frankly, last time I heard, I think monopolies were illegal. And that's pretty much what they did. They bought their competition, not with the sole purpose to drive both those companies up and treat them in two different entities like we all hoped. It is to take one and throw it in the shitter and put it right in the trash can. The idiot Hoagie, what's his name? Brian Hoagie. He comes out and says, well, we're not going to spend any money on SGC. We're going to make them a boutique. We're going to steal all their employees. We're going to set up right next door. And we're going to steal all their shit. And then, by the way, we're going to turn their company into shit as well. So we can take all their business and we can gain more momentum and more steam. And Darren was right from the beginning. I know I changed my answer the last time when Darren said they're going to be fucking shit canned. And that's really what is going to happen. And if you don't think so, you're just in the seventh. You're in the last stage of the 7 stages.
But Petty, here's what I'm going to add to that.
Yeah,
you can take all your SGC slabs, stack them that tall.
Oh, they're tall.
Yeah, drive them over to PSA and drop them off. Tell them you're going to reslab them, but you're going to pay for that. You're giving those MFers all your money.
It's a losing game. When a guy goes 190 for 190 on cards that you mean to tell me not even one will fucking pro?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. You're going to spend more money.
Bullshit.
You're just adding to their bottom line, and you're going to get worse grades.
I'm not adding to their line. I'm not going to play that. Homie's not playing that game with those guys. And I had a change of heart with that in a hurry. I'm not cutting. I'm not breaking shit out. I'm going to sell
well,
shit.
I'm glad to hear that.
Okay. So let me kind of pull things back a little bit. Now I'm fine with the passion.
Blood pressure, med time.
I'm fine with the passion. I'm fine with all of this. My question, though, and the question that has come up,
the 234 watchers.
So here's the question, though, and Darren, it was an off topic with Darren and myself and Mike Moynihan, and we kind of were talking about this topic, and Mike and Darren both pushed all their chips to the table.
Oh, Mike is on the in crowd. He knows what the score is.
And they basically said, yeah, they're going away. And people were like, what are you talking about? And slowly but surely, every single time you turn the corner, there's more evidence that seems to be the case. So my question, Darren, to you then becomes, has your opinion, do you feel stronger? Did you already feel strongly? But also the question that's come up several times is this: well, what's going to happen? Because there are people in the chat right now saying, I'm not giving PSA any of my money. Now, I don't think, right here, it says it. I'm not giving my money to PSA. Will somebody fill, Darren, will somebody fill SGC's place if SGC is gobbled up?
I think people will try, right? That's the one thing about the hobby we've seen over the last 4 or 5 years is anybody that has access to capital is trying to start something in this thing, and they're going to probably fuck it up, but they'll give it a shot. So I think somebody will try to, but I don't know if they'll be successful at it. So yes, I think somebody will, but I don't know it's going to be CGC or one of those, maybe tag.
Collectors had an opportunity to really do something special. And the thing is that I had to laugh at, when Peter Steinberg came on, we are working really hard on the big announcement next month for, stand by for, we're going to have a registry. You know how long I've been listening to that bullshit? That has been going on for at least a minimum of 10 years about they're going to have a registry. And the minute that company was bought, there was never a thought for the registry. The thought was, we're going to squash that registry and we're going to squash that company into dog shit. And that's what's going to happen to it. And don't be surprised to see a scandal end it all.
All right. I have a question for you, Tony. Uh-huh. You let's just say, for example, let's play the hypothetical. Let's say that this all continues down the path that it's going and SGC goes away, and you buy a nice card that is currently not graded, whether it's a rare issue or whatever it is. Okay. And you now need to take that card and you've got to send it in for grading. And at the moment, the options are really then would become PSA, CGC, and Beckett. Those are really your three options. There are some other very boutique-y companies, but they're not really options for potentially a big card. You have an amazing collection. What would you do? Who would you submit the card to if that happened right now?
It's going to PSA all day long. I mean, there's not another choice, honestly. Not at this time. If it's a $50 card, $25 card, and you want to try another one, knock yourself out.
Why even bother at that point? Why would you?
I mean, true. By the time you pay for grading,
because what's going to happen is, like, everybody that's sending their shit to SGC at some point, mark my words, whether it's in a year or 5 or 10, your shit's going to get stuck there. You're going to lose your shit. It's going to, whoever's the last man standing.
Yeah. I'll
I don't know. I just think I don't, because I just don't trust PSA.
I just don't care. Like, I just want my card graded.
I mean, look, I don't either. I don't care.
But I don't want to use.
I'm going to tighten it up, but I don't care.
Yeah, I just want my card graded. That's it. Like, I've got a raw Hank Aaron rookie right now with the vintage rookie era signature on it. That's extremely rare, and I got to get that graded. It's not going to CGC. It's going to PSA.
But you've never been burned before. I must say, I mean, look, in your 3-4 years of collecting, you are King Midas. Well, I would just say, I mean, look, and because you make a lot of great decisions. You make decisive decisions. And I will say, I mean, dude, they work out for you, but a lot of people would spend all that money on an ungraded autograph, let's say. And they would send it into PSA, and it'll just come back that we can't authenticate this.
Well, I mean, it could happen to me. We'll see.
I'm just saying, but
it's got a JSA, but that
hasn't happened. I don't care what it has. It could have a PSA.
I know.
And they won't authenticate it. Just because they have a bug up their ass. I know, but that I mean, there's a lot of this going on, and you've been clean living, and knock on wood for you, because you do make great decisions. I will say.
Well, thank you.
I admire you so much. I think, as the collector, but I mean, you have never been burned that way before. And when you get burned for, 1,000 to 3,000 to 10,000, now it's not the end of the world, for us. But like my wife said, when I lose 8,000 or 10,000, I get pissed.
But here's the thing: if they turn it back, they turn it away and say it's not real, and say, I don't give a crap. I'm going to keep it raw. I don't care. Like, that ain't going to break my.
I guess, but you still want to see your investment or your card in that slab. I mean, it makes you feel. It makes you feel good.
Yeah. I mean,
so I don't know.
Foul ball knows me too well.
Darren, let me ask you, what do you do, Darren? I mean, Tony says he's going PSA. Is keeping it raw, like Roger's saying, is that an option to keep it raw? Or is it like, no, you got to get it graded? And I mean, what would you do as things stand right now? And let me just hit pause. I want to interrupt myself for a second and interrupt you. I know a lot of people are giving me grief for talking about this topic. I'm sorry, guys.
It's a great topic.
I'm sorry, but this matters in the hobby right now. We are so all in on grading that the fact that as vintage collectors, there's really been 2/3 options for years, and one of them is slowly bleeding out on the sidewalk right now, and the ambulance hasn't even arrived, and that's a problem. So we can joke about it, and I'm not upset, but just know I find this topic important, so I'm going to keep talking about it. Darren, do you leave it raw? Do you send it somewhere else? Do you send it to PSA? What do you do?
So the only time I've ever sent cards in to get graded was when I first started on YouTube, because I saw that grading reveal videos got a lot of views. So I did that when I first started out, but I don't grade stuff. I buy it graded already. But if I had to send something in to get graded, I think it goes back to, and I agree with Tony and Petty, right? If it's something where it's like, hey, it's a card that's, say less than $1,000, then I probably would send it to SGC, because I like SGC.
Well, this particular SGC doesn't do autographs. And like I said, I think.
Oh, if it's an autograph card? Yeah. Then I would send it to Beckett.
Yeah, well, they'll authenticate anything. A wife's signature will authenticate. They'll authenticate Dom DiMaggio for Joe DiMaggio.
Now, David makes a good point too, is that there are a lot of cards in SGC holders. So then what happens? I mean, I've thrown out the concept of some sort of PSA slab that acknowledges it's an SGC grade that's attached to it.
Acknowledgement. We don't want the acknowledgement. I want them to cross over all my shit into PSA for $15 a slab.
That's not going to happen.
Put it on their register. Well, I know it's not going to happen, but that's what I want as a collector. That's what that's what we deserve as collectors.
Yeah.
If they decide, because I always felt that would happen when the shit hit the fan, when sales start to go down, when there's a collapse, when everybody stops sending them shit. This is a great way to increase revenue. But they have so many other new revenue streams now. They've added 5 other scam, streams, income streams, which as a business, you're always looking for an income stream. I happen to have 5 income streams that I enjoy in my business. They had 5, and they're trying to add, they want to add mystery pack grading now, and they want to grade all these mystery packs and all the cards in the mystery packs. I mean, this is just it's triple dipping, and it is just such a conflict of interest. But nobody holds their ass to the fire. Nobody cares, and especially me, because like I told you guys before, if I cared enough, because I stand for shit. I fire big companies normally, but I love the collecting too much. And when I was ripped off for $3,000, and then I lost a package for $10,000 going out to SGC one time, I was ready to shoot the post office up. My wife said, "Look,"
oh Jesus,
maybe it wasn't that bad, but my wife said, "Look, if you're gonna get that mad,
just got flagged.
Like, why would you do it? Why would you put yourself through this?" And she said, "You know what? As far as the money goes, it's gone. Accept it and just go make more money." And that's really the fact. So, and that's what I did. I've lost more money than I care to imagine on just bullshit, misplacing it, stupid buys, and just double shit. But my wife puts it in perspective. It's like, if it's going to bother you, then you should stop.
I'm asking because I'm looking for direction. Because
I'll give you direction. Don't buy any fucking mystery packs and stay the hell away from SGC.
I'm not talking about mystery packs right now. I'm talking about cards. I have cards right now at SGC because I like SGC. I like the way they grade. I like the way that old cards, pre-war especially, look in their holders.
Especially the white ones.
I also have PSA holders. I mean, I bought 2 cards at the National this year. They're both in PSA holders. And that's going to kind of bring me to my next question. And the next question is, how do you feel about your cards that are in SGC slabs? And Darren and Tony are saying their opinion hasn't changed.
Well, they're much smarter than I am.
And Petty is saying that he's not adding SGC slab cards. Now, I'm not trying not to. Not
that I won't.
Right.
If it's a matter of making that extra bid and the cards in an SGC slab ain't happening. I don't need to add any more shit to my collection.
I'm going to tell you guys, I'll be honest with you. Like right now, there are several cards that I've been looking at online, and the ones that are in SGC holders, there's a card that ends tomorrow that I am planning on making a strong play for. For me, an expensive card, and it's in an SGC slab, and I'm like, do I really want to do this to myself? And then I look in the mirror and I go, what? Is this really where I'm at right now?
Well, what we used to do was we would buy the SGC slab 1 grade under PSA. That's the way it's been for years.
Buying the freaking card, man.
If it's an SGC 6, I'm gonna pay no more than a PSA 5 price, or else I'm just gonna pass.
I'm just buying the cards.
Yeah.
Well,
I like my cards. I don't give a shit what slab they're in. To be honest with you, I hate PSA slabs. I bought that Willard's chocolate cob at the National.
Yeah.
Every time I take it out of the case to look at the card, it's sideways. It's jammed into the plastic.
Just turn your head.
I have to like bang it on the table. I'm going to take the grid. It's only a 1.5. I only have a 0.5 to fuck it up in the case before it's down to a 1. And
yeah,
it's So like, I hate their slabs, and I like the way my cards look in SGC slabs. But at the end of the day, the slab's not important to me. I like the card itself, right? Like, I buy cards
not everyone,
based on eye
I'm just
appeal.
saying.
So like, I wouldn't consider moving any of my cards out of SGC to PSA.
No,
I wouldn't consider not buying a card because it's in an SGC slab versus a PSA slab. It has, to me, because I don't submit cards for grading, this has zero impact on how I collect.
Rick, it's a non-sport card. It's not a baseball card. So I don't think
leave it to Rick.
I don't think
Is it
I don't
signed?
think you'd go for it. It's not signed. So Tony's out and Rick is out. Okay.
You have best wishes on it?
It doesn't have best wishes on it, at least not yet. Now, let me though change. Let's change gears for a second. Now, again, I do have to time out for a second. 247 is the highest number I've ever seen on MidLife live stream, which has happened tonight, which is
that ought to tell you
higher.
something about your cast of characters tonight.
I don't know.
I love my
That's
cast
something
of
to do with
characters.
that guy in the corner down there.
So
you're right. The all-star.
Here's the next question. And this is something that I asked today and covered in my video this morning was, have card prices gotten too high? And there have been a lot of people talking about this, not just me, on our card prices too high. And before I reveal your guys' answers, I want to take a look at something that our buddy Adam over at Splendid Sports said recently, which really kind of caught me off guard. I have a huge amount of respect for Adam. I mentioned this in my video this morning, but I didn't share the clip, knowing I would share it tonight. So let's take a look. This is about a minute and a half. Let's hear what Adam has to say.
Starting to realize that it's almost like 2021 again. And it's a little different. You know, it's not the exact same cards that are going crazy. Some iconic cards are doing the same thing they did. Now, history does repeat itself. Nobody knows if it's going to be just like the last time, and next month or in 2 months, we're going to go straight down again on those cards. But I made a decision myself. I'm not going to be buying any big cards, at least for the rest of the year, and maybe longer than that. Now, I say the term big because, or you could say expensive, because, you know, everyone has a different budget in the hobby. So an expensive card for someone out there might be $100,000. For someone else, it might be $10,000. Someone else, it could be $100. Whatever that is, you know, it is for the person. But for me, I've decided I might not buy any cards, to be honest with you. I have a lot of the cards that I've always wanted. I have many things to do in my collection other than buying new cards. I have to organize. I have to reholder some cards. I have to free some cards from some slabs that I want to put in my own slabs. I mean, there is, for any amount of time I have on this hobby, I have plenty of other things I can spend it on other than researching, buying cards, trying to eBay. I've deleted all my eBay save searches. This is not that I don't believe in the sports card market long-term or anything like that. But to me, it certainly feels like we're back in early 2021 right now. And I don't want anything to do with buying cards right now at these level of prices.
So that's a really interesting thing to say. I don't want anything to do with buying cards at these prices. So one of my questions to you guys was, are card prices too high? And I want to talk first to Tony, because Tony says no. Darren and Petty said yes, prices have gotten out of control. So we just heard what Adam had to say. Darren and Petty are thinking similar, maybe not necessarily not buying. We'll find out that here in a second, but certainly thinking that prices have gotten kind of crazy. But Tony, you said no. So why do you think prices aren't too high and you're not scared off by this?
Well, I mean, so if you're watching this right now, you're going, well, yeah, Tony's got money. No, it ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm saying the market is what the market is, right? I can't control that. Now, if you want to make the decision not to buy something, don't freaking buy it. You know, there was a signed Jackie Robinson card I wanted last night, but I didn't buy it because it was too much money. Don't buy it. And if you don't buy it, maybe the prices come back down. Does anybody ever say, and I know baseball cards aren't stocks, the stocks are just too high right now? No, they're just what they are. That's a stock price. You either buy it or you don't. So, you know, you got choices. And not everything is sky high. I just got a signed raw Redman Tobacco Larry Doby card I needed for my Doby run today. I think I paid $90 for it on eBay. It ain't got a tab. Man, if it had a tab, it's probably going to be $120, but it ain't got a tab. I'm fired up about it. And so anyways, yeah, buy what you like, man. If it's too expensive, don't buy it. You know, I'm collecting cards. So I do YouTube as a hobby inside the hobby. They don't cost me anything, just some headaches sometimes. But anyways, just, you know, it's all relative.
It is.
Darren, your thoughts. Why do you think prices are high? And even more than that, let's skip that. Not why do you think prices are high? Are the high prices affecting your outlook of what you're planning to spend or cards that you're considering buying over the next few months, like Adam was suggesting for him?
No, I mean, the way it'll impact it is I'll buy fewer because if the cards are too much, not too much, if the cards are higher priced than I had originally budgeted for and I want to pick it up, then obviously that's going to take away from budget for something else. But I don't think, I mean, one of the things that I've noticed every time I make my list for the year, like, I should start the Sports Card Investor channel, because every time I make a list for the year, those are the damn cards when I try to buy them are the ones going up and everything else is going down. So like for me, I'm buying them, I don't sell, but if I did, I'd be the buy high, sell low guy. So, I think that prices are high. I think they're high. I think, to be honest with you, though, on some stuff they're not. Other stuff they are.
Yeah,
the stuff on my list they're high on. But I mean, I bought a card the other day. I bought a Joe DiMaggio playing days card for my Joe DiMaggio run, and it's a playing days DiMaggio card. I bought it in an 8, and it was $222. The beauty of it is, though, it's in the PSA slab, and the card's literally upside down in the slab. I'll show you when I get it.
I
bought it off eBay knowing it was upside down in the slab, and that's fine.
Yeah,
it's loose, so it's spun around.
So you can either spin it around or you can just send it in for a new slab.
That's true.
For $20.
So Petty, what about John's point here? There are more collectors than there's ever been, so the prices are higher. That's why they're higher. I mean, and if that's the case,
prices are what they are, and I certainly understand Adam's point.
I do too.
Because right now we are at an apex, like much like we are at the pandemic pricing for a lot of items. Some stuff is still flat, or Willie Mays cards are not all on the trajectory up. You have Jackie Robinson, which is on a run. You have Wagner, which is on a run. So cards like that, you have a lot of rare stuff that's on runs, and maybe Mantle. And Adam has been collecting for a while too, and I feel similar to Adam, like where with stocks, I don't feel comfortable enough where I can say I can time the market on stocks. If you think you can time any market, you're pretty much an idiot for most cases. And that's why I've just learned to dollar cost average over the last 20 years.
That's what Brad's saying here.
Well, so that's all you can do, really, to protect yourself. But cards are a little bit different, and you do get a little bit of a feel. I know I got that feeling with the pandemic. When it started, I go, what? And you see Jeff Wilson come on the scene, and you see they're just selling cards and just turning shit over. It was, to quote John Wayne, it was goddamn ridiculous, And so you do get a feel. And I did what Adam did for practically 2.5 years. I didn't buy anything nice. I waited for that come up and that little bit of a drop down, and I bought Kellogg's cards, and I bought cards for less than 100, things that I always liked in my raw 71s and 75s, and just little items. And I'm sure I lost money on them, or they haven't gone up in value. I didn't buy them for that. I bought them because those are the cards I loved. The cards now I'm buying and spending, I feel a little bit safer because I have been buying them into the run up for 2.5, 3 years now. So I'm not nearly as afraid to go in because, past the past has kind of taught me that. But I certainly, I mean, look, Adam just bought a new house. He's right about, look, I could do so many more things in my collection, and so can I, which I'm trying to do now. I mean, I'm trying to, get my 1,600 cards, graded cards, in order. I want to put them PSA and SGC a little closer in value together. I still want to continue to spend to buy a couple of really nice cards. So he makes great points.
And I want to say this too. Adam's been in it a lot longer than me. So he's seen the pandemic. Y'all, I wasn't collecting in the pandemic. I don't know that. Like when I came in, I guess it had kind of come down a little bit, and I got to hit that low.
Right at the pinnacle.
So, yeah,
to where it was actually
what it is,
a little
man.
down. Yeah. It is. It is.
Yeah, and I think that might be why Tony and I picked the answer we picked, right? We've both been in it for not as long as a lot of other people, right? And because of that, for us, we see card prices and we're like, oh, it's a little high from where it's been. But then you have guys that have been doing it for, 30, 40 years, and they're like, the cards you're paying $8,000 for, I could have bought for like $100.
Well, when you're buying
25
Babe
years
Ruth
ago,
for 2,000
to
to
them,
3,000,
the cards look higher.
You buy Babe Ruth and Wagner's at 2,000 to 3,000, and literally before you blink, they're 10,000. Shit has got to give. And even Ruth's, I noticed on the last auction, had flattened out just a little bit. They're not. Wagner's have still continued to go okay.
A little bit,
they're
but
still holding.
Yeah.
And now I look at the next Heritage auction; they're up high too. So people are trying to get that T206 look without the $3 million price tag. Guys like me and Tony in our range are, we're like probably upper middle class. We don't have the $4 million to be thrown into a T206 or something. So there's a lot of people like that.
Yeah. Fair points. All of them. I've spent more in the last 30 days than any 30 days by probably double. And I came home from the National and I've still been buying. I'll show a couple of cards I recently bought, but this is my Johnny Evers T206 portrait that I just got in the mail today. So I'm not slowing down. And then I've been looking for a card to finish my autogram run I've been looking for this card for over a year. And I finally finished my autogram run with this card right here. This is a 51 Bowman, his second year card. And again,
look at these cards too. So you notice the way these cards are. So when they come up like this, and they look like that for the grade, you almost do have to buy them. It's like it's calling to you. I mean, this is when you get them.
There's truth to that. I mean, you can't choose when a card comes up, and I know that John 3D has for the last 2 years, right before the National, a card that he really wanted came up and he won it, and then he had no money at the National, and you can't control those things.
When you have prices going on the up, you're going to have a lot of shit smothering the market and a lot of good stuff out there that's going to come out for auction. It's just the way it is. As prices go down, you won't see as much as this great stuff out there. It's unprecedented the last 2 years, what we've been looking at.
David's using my own joke against me. He's right. There's something addictive about some of these cards, and he's a non-sport collector as well as baseball cards and stuff. And I texted him yesterday and I said, dude, I think this card that you sent me the other day is laced with heroin, because now all of a sudden I'm like completely addicted to this stuff. And again, like this says right here, you get them when you find them.
That's right.
We're at 264, which is over 40 people more than we've ever hit on any stream. So appreciate
y'all
again
for
all of
watching.
you. Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
for showing up and putting up with us
44
clowns.
more than ever.
Uh,
You should be
yeah.
doing this every week. Maybe we should have the same group every week for an hour.
I put a lot
Quit
of
your job.
I
Get
put
some sponsors.
When I start doing stuff like this and I pull clips and make sure that it's going to be, I put a lot of time into these.
So it's amazing. That's why people are watching.
Yeah. I have a great time. I have a great time. And I also, I have to ask my wife and my kids because our living
wife, you need to tell her. Look, cognac.
Use my chest. Say it with my chest, right? Say it loudly.
I'm just kidding, honey. Just kidding.
All right. So these are kind of my topics, and I had thought from the beginning that like an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half, and we're at an hour 10.
We're not letting 200 people go.
To me, I see about 20 minutes left, and I want the chat to be a part of that. Okay, I want to start building in more time to hear from you guys. Darren, is there any last thing that you want to say about the cost of cards right now, about how it might be adjusting how you're thinking? Or are you just kind of, like Petty said, dollar cost averaging? Like you set aside into your budget, you're going to buy. If something pops up, you're going to buy it. If the price is high, oh, well. Because I in my morning video this morning, I was talking about my T206 Cobb that I bought. That was, I paid $5,000 for. And someone was saying, oh, yeah, I almost bought that card like 8 years ago or something for like $800. And I'm like, I don't regret. I would go back and make that purchase again in a heartbeat.
That card was also up to 8,000 during the pandemic.
Yeah.
True.
So I think it's a fair price at $5,000.
No, I mean,
when it looks like that.
But it was a fair price to him, or he wouldn't have bought it. That's my point.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it got everything you
I mean,
wanted.
I think I buy cards that I want to have, and I guess my strategy now, because of the way the market is, buy high and then buy higher.
Buy high,
it is what it is.
Better.
Yeah. I mean, I have no I could either not buy stuff or buy or pay a lot, right? And that's fine. And I just, if I want the card, at the end of the day, right? Like things are only worth what you're willing to pay for them. So if I want it, then I'll pay for it. If I don't want it, I won't. So I mean, maybe some of the like medium cards that I like, but I don't love, I'll take off the list.
Oh, Carl, it's fucking
How about you, Tony? I mean, I know that you've got some expenses you've talked about, and you're gonna slow down. Like it's sort of like the ongoing joke where a couple of years ago, when we were having these conversations, Darren would talk about the cards on his list, and he needed a new list, and then Petty said you have a regenerating list, and then we hear Tony say he's going to slow down with buying before the National, and he comes home with this monster Clemente auto.
Best wishes.
I mean, do you really think?
Say Roberto.
Do you really think that you're going to slow down over the next 4 months?
Yeah, absolutely.
Does this have anything to do with it? Does this have anything to do with it?
Absolutely not. It has to do with my wife wants all new furniture in our new house, and
don't forget those rugs.
There's rugs, there's painting, there's all kinds of crap to do.
Oh, shit.
So right now the card budget's being eaten up
before it starts raining.
Happy wife, happy life, man. That's
you know what I told her about the roof? It's not leaking, honey.
Well, I mean, I do think that this is a topic that we have to think about, and it is a topic
John.
Especially because I think that there are regions in the United States, and that's one of the weird parts about the United States is Tony lives in a region right now where the economy is roaring, right? There's a lot of growth in your state. There's a lot of building going on in your state. There are other areas of the country where that is not the case. People have been leaving, and so they have declining populations, and then that results into the declining economy. And so there is definitely a regionality to card collecting because there is a regionality to the economy within the United States. And being such a big country, some people say, man, how are the people affording cards right now? How are people's jobs? how are you making money to do this stuff right now? Because they're in an area that's kind of depressed at the moment. And that's one of the things I like about the fact that we're on this platform that hits all of the 50 states and beyond. I mean, Carl is watching right now from Australia. I mean, he's watching from Australia. And I think that is certainly something that we have to think about whenever we're talking about these topics. And my friend Texas Ranger, I really appreciate that very, very much, more than you realize. Tony, what do you think about that?
About the economy,
about the regionality. I mean,
yeah.
Do you think that you're living in? Are you maybe looking through a lens where the economy is good, whereas other people who are saying, "Yeah, I think prices are kind of high, and the economy I'm not sure about."
Yeah,
does that play into it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people are moving here by the droves, and our economy is booming. My business is growing year after year. I'm very blessed to have started a business when I was 24 years old in a city that was going to grow like gangbusters for all these years, for 30 something years, 32 years. So yeah, not everybody's like that. On Facebook, there's a cabinet maker Facebook page, and I'm on that, and I'm shocked by they're asking questions like, I can't find work. How do y'all, like, do you advertise? Do you market your shop? And I'm like, crap, I'm turning work down every single day. I've got too much work. I don't want people calling me. So yeah, so it's a different world where I live. And so yeah, I'm sure that plays into it. So
and to this point right here,
don't forget. I mean, so Tony and I think we're kind of at a little bit older level, a little bit more established. So we may be, looking at the hobby a little bit differently. But I remember what I was like in my 40s, like you guys. I mean, I wouldn't be collecting shit other than my balls in my hand is the only thing I had. I mean, literally, I had nothing. I got nothing but crickets.
I
respect you guys for doing what you're doing, and you guys, everybody out there, you collect at your own pace.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Petty,
you don't need to keep up with.
I'm looking forward to collecting at your age.
Oh, because you're gonna
be
fucking richer than God by the time you're my age.
Yeah. Now, to Steel City's point, the regionality of it. Now, this is something that I think is actually interesting and worthy of talking about too, because I remember as a kid when you'd look in the Beckett magazine and you'd look at the early 50s cards, it would say next to Yankees, NYY, like New York Yankees, it would say BD, Brooklyn Dodgers, because there was a premium on those cards because they were Yankees, they were Dodgers, and there was a bigger following and it was a bigger market.
Right? I mean,
there is to a certain extent. And I asked Dr. Beckett when I had a conversation with him, and I said, "Why did you do that?" And he said, because the dealers in those areas would go out of their region. They would go down to a show in Dallas. They would pay peanuts for the Yankees cards and the Dodgers cards. And then they'd go back up to Brooklyn. They'd go back up to New York and Manhattan, and they would get way more money. And it was his way of letting those people outside of that region know that there's a premium in some places. Now, this is obviously before eBay, where that regionality of values definitely kind of goes away because people can buy it there. But there's a regionality not just to the economy, but there's a regionality to things like what the values are. Just like when Sammy Thunder or B. Roth or these guys go to shows in Cleveland or in Chicago, they're looking to pick up Mets cards and Yankees cards because when they go back home, they're going to be a premium to those. So I think that that's something that at least is worthy of acknowledging. And I think that it makes it difficult at times when you see someone like Adam, who's, in New England area, and he's saying something, it might be completely different for a guy who's living in Tennessee. And so I think we all have to look through that lens at times. And there's a filter there of when somebody is sharing what they're doing, that's part of the equation to consider. That
there's economy. No one right answer for anybody. Everybody's their own master of their universe and have to make their own decisions. We just try to,
I mean, at the end of the day,
from our experiences,
just
and,
don't
that's all you can
spend money you need for your life and your family on baseball
that's
cards.
the bottom line.
Yeah,
Don't spend money you don't have. If you can't pay your credit card off from month to month, and you're putting money on your credit card,
I mean, let's be honest, right?
Like, it's not smart.
You go buy, you go buy like a Babe Ruth card. You look at that card, like, I love this card. But when you tell your wife, no family vacay this year because I spent the money on the Babe Ruth card, and now you're all by yourself, you're not going to like that card anymore. I mean, it's just, it's all about budget and sticking to your budget.
It really is. Yeah,
I agree.
It's more, you have to have one thing to have more dollars than cents. But I mean, you really have to have a little bit of a filter, and do for your family and for yourself first. When all that is exhausted, and you have your retirement, for that, if you have a Roth IRA, there's only so much you can put into it and max it out. That's the least you can do. And then maybe you have some other extra money to invest. Look, if you have 10% of your net worth, and a lot of people like Greg, you don't even count this as your, as your net worth or as an asset. I do. I not that I track it every day or what, but I'm very, I look at what I have, and when I get too high into my net worth, I'm not comfortable.
Yeah,
because I've made a living, and I've built, I've built my life on, diversification into everything. And that includes cash, gold, stocks, real estate. And then I'm the only idiot that added baseball cards, which nobody would ever tell you to do that.
Well, I will to respond to that. It's interesting.
It's an alternative investment. It should be there.
Wednesday,
shouldn't you you tell your guy, you got a guy, Darren?
No, yeah, well, my guy, what
does he tell you? He tells
when
you,
when I told my guy what I had in baseball cards, he, I thought he was gonna pass out or throw up or something.
Of course, you can't sell that to a legitimate money investor.
No, but I mean, alternative investments are valid, right? People buy classic cars, people buy artwork, right? Like, it's not nearly as liquid, but it's still, it's still an asset.
And not only that, it's something that we enjoy. You have to do things that give you some enjoyment in life, and like, so I don't travel as much as I used to. I don't buy 5 cars like I want to. I keep it down to 2 cars or 3.
Right, I mean, I had the day from hell today at work. We're installing a big cabinet job down in Naples, Florida, in this $6 million mansion. And crap's hitting the fans. We're trying to figure out how to ship a part real quick that they need to finish the install because they're only there this week. My guys are down there. I'm paying for hotels and expenses. And then I get to come home and do this. And all that crap just goes away. So that's what this hobby is to me.
Yeah, and to that point though, Petty, I wanted to acknowledge this is last Wednesday that kind of came up in my video. I was talking about how I don't consider my cards to be part of my net worth, and it's not something like that. And then I mentioned it again today, and I had a whole bunch of people, multiple people last Wednesday responded, and they said, "What do you mean you don't consider it part of your net worth?" And so I have that question on tap for Wednesday. And I
want to know about what I have because I don't want to get overextended. Over my skis. And, and I'm getting there. So that's why I'm trying to pare down some things. And I'm looking and where's the natural thing is the SGC and the lower graded items.
I mean, I think too, it has to do with the size of your collection. I mean, our buddy Dave, he better count that as part of his net worth.
Right.
He's got a $4 million collection.
Exactly. I mean,
and that's part of what I plan on talking about is it depends on the person and the collector and what they have.
Exactly.
I mean, for me, my collection, I like my collection. It's a nice collection,
It
but it's
is.
not
It was
like
great.
Dave Blue Jacket's collection. It's not like
No,
Orlando's
but you're
collection.
not 60 years old, retired like Dave, who
I
went
feel
from
like I
generation
am,
to
though.
generation, but you're not. You know, you still have kids in college. You have to look at your collection for what it is. I mean, you have property, you have investments, you have a wife, you have 2 kids, you have, college ahead of you. I mean, you have you are solid. And
So
that's you. And there's other people out there that are the same way as you, but there's other people that may not be.
Yeah.
So we want to make them inclusive, and I'm talking to them too, because I haven't always been where I'm at, and everybody finds their way, at their particular time. I saw somebody mention gold, and like I've told this story before, but how I was told in like 2000 to start collecting gold. And I'm not a gold bug by any means, but I'm a guy that likes to collect. And but he said, "Hey, don't tell your wife you're collecting cash and gold. Just collect it just because." Of course, I can't keep a secret. I've got to tell my wife knows the cash and the gold. But I liked collecting it. It made me feel good. And I looked at it as a store of value. Is it an investment? Fuck no. I haven't sold one piece of gold in my life. How is that an investment? How am I like buying and selling? It is a store of value, much like the baseball card. But I'm not getting over my skis and having 50% of my net worth in gold.
Darren, you're younger like me, right?
Yeah.
Than these 2
Thank
old
you.
guys. What do you
Dinosaurs.
track the value of your collection, and in comparison to your net worth? Is that something that you ever think about?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, yeah, I do. I mean, I sometimes worry like Petty does, right? Because sometimes I'm like, shit, like I'm not. I mean, I'm not like, I don't have like a massive percentage of
But
it in
if you
cards,
put it all in the S&P 500, you'd be 10 times higher than you would if you put them in the baseball cards.
and that's fair, right? Like, I think about that sometimes. Like I think about like where my portfolio would be if I had put all the money I put in cards into the stock market. But at the same time, when you look at your when you look at your investment you go to log in your brokerage house and look at your investment portfolio balance, and you're like, that's cool, but then it's not it doesn't, it's just, that's more of a number. It's like I'm tracking towards something someday versus your baseball card collection. You pull them out, you look at it, and you enjoy it. Yeah,
You can't touch it.
yeah.
I think that, I mean, again,
Good job, Dan.
I look at it. I look at cards
Me too.
as my entertainment.
Yeah.
And I look at cards, it's like a vacation. It's like you enjoy it, and whatever, happens out of that, great. But all for me personally, everything comes after bills and saving for the retirement. And then whatever's left over, then I might consider entertainment stuff. And that might be a new set of golf clubs, or it might be a red Cobb.
Yeah, and I think the reason I look at it that way is not because I'm like, oh, this is something, I'm not going to sell my cards, so it doesn't really matter. But it's more like, if you check, if your card value is worth more than an account that you do count towards your net worth, then
okay, so let me just put it this way. It's my hobby.
Yeah.
I'm not a member of a country club. I could go down the street and join a country club and play golf every freaking day, play on the weekends, but I got a bad back. Can't do that. I didn't go blow my money on a brand new Ranger fishing boat with the fancy poles in the back that sticks in the mud so you don't float away while you're trolling around. I didn't do that crap. I ain't bought no Ferrari. All those things I just talked about, when you pay for them, they're worth less after you pay for them than when you got them. My baseball cards, I expect them to at least hold their value, or at least go up with inflation.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the crap out of them. So that's what I'm doing.
There you go.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
sums it up.
I am a member of a country club.
Me
Why
too.
not?
But what I tell my students, I tell them all the time, I say, what rich people do is they spend their money on things that appreciate in value. What poor people do is they spend their money on things that depreciate in value. And if you always remember that in life, and if you're always making sure that you're spending more on things that are appreciating in value than depreciating in value, then in the long run, you're going to be all right. But Tavis made a really good point here. Tavis made a great point here is at the same time, and this is what I find, I'm being totally honest right here.
True.
In my life, what I tend to do is I'm so focused on planning for the future that I forget the present. And that's one of the reasons I wasn't going to go to the 2024 Strongsville show. Is I'm like, I don't want to spend $1,000 on a flight, on a hotel, then I got to rent a car, then I got to get around, then I got to pay for food. I don't want to do this. And my wife looked at me and she goes, are you stupid? And I'm like, probably. And she says, you need to enjoy your life. And I went to the 2024 Strongsville show and I came home and I was absolutely giddy with how much fun I had. Yeah. Because I am a person who is wired to save. I'm like a squirrel who just hides acorns all days and never eats.
I think we all are.
I don't think we all are. I don't think we all are.
So let me put it this way. My daddy, I turned 56 on August the 6th. I turned 56. My dad died of Lou Gehrig's disease when he was 56 freaking years old. That put things in perspective for me. Enjoy your life, man. Do what makes you happy, but don't be stupid. That's the biggest part of wisdom.
That's perfect advice. 100%. Do what you love, do what you enjoy, but don't be stupid. That's actually right.
Don't be stupid.
Yeah. Tony, can you have your guys carve me a sign of that? A nice wooden sign?
I can do it.
Don't be stupid.
Now you can get that, maybe Scott can make a t-shirt in 2028. Because I'll tell you what, I mean, I got orders in with that guy for 9 months.
Whoever this 8 Skepti 1 production dude is, he's a lot of fun at parties. I'm telling you what. He is making me want to put a gun in my mouth.
I love him.
I'm just calling people out.
He's right on the money.
He is, yeah.
Are you talking this guy right here?
Oh,
so
God.
Can he please?
He is a barrel of fun. I'd love to see his card collection.
If the chaos in the market happens, what market?
What freaking market are you talking about and what chaos?
The supermarket.
Genius. Sorry, Greg. I know you're
all right. No, you're great. You're great. Okay.
He's been on the money all day.
Okay. So here's what I want to do. We're 92 minutes in. I have had an absolute blast. We have 20 people. Hold on. We have 20 more people in here than have ever been into a MidLife live before. But all good things must come to an end. So what I want to do is I want to go around the horn once, and I want some final thoughts. The hat is coming out. I want to go around the horn. Tony, we've talked about a lot. Tony, we have talked about our cards overpriced. We've talked about what are we going to do about SGC and PSA? Again, yes, I'll continue talking about it. We talked about the National versus Strongsville. We've talked about all these things. What are your final thoughts, Tony?
My final thoughts are I love every one of you guys. The guys on the screen, the guys that are struggling, even the guy that's Mr. Negativity. I love him because it gives us something to talk about. And we got to get together. I got to wash all the bull crap that I dealt with today. I ain't had a shower yet, but it just washed right off.
You look great.
And I got to rant for a minute, and I just feel better now. So, yeah, I didn't even take a blood pressure pill, so I'm good.
All right. There you have it. All right, Darren. Darren is squeezing us in between business trips. That said, Darren, what are, as you're working your tail off, what are your final thoughts on the night?
I thought it was a blast. Thank you, everybody that joined in the chat. That's awesome. And this is fun, man. Like Tony said, right? You got to do stuff that's fun and don't be stupid. So I'm having fun. Trying not to be stupid.
We need to get
try not to be stupid is really, really good advice. We all have to stick with that. MidLife Nation, where don't be stupid. That's fantastic. Petty. I know you usually have opinions.
I'm staying right here. 250 people watching. I'm not leaving.
It's like what was it, the Wolf of Wall Street, where he says, "I'm not leaving. You're gonna need a wrecking ball."
Right.
Petty's not leaving.
I'm not going anywhere.
I don't care about the chop. I know everything about the chop.
Well, I am happily married, I would like to believe, and
You're
told
still
my
gonna be married at 7:30 at night. Where are you going?
well, you know,
your
around
wife out, give her a fin and tell her to get her hair done.
I'm going to say this. They're asking for a petty minute. Do you want to rant on
I
something?
already given 3 minutes. I got nothing. Nothing. I mean, what do you want to hear about? What do you want to know? What kind of minute would you like? I mean, give me a topic and I'll give them a minute.
People don't realize you study for
we've
those
done
minutes.
mystery packs. You already know what I think about breaking. And you know what I think about date night. Well, that's hard to get around because I mean, date nights,
there you go.
when you have scheduled date night, you do have to come through.
Hold on. You got to talk about Jeff Wilson. Here we go.
Oh no. You got a minute, Petty.
Joker Smile. Carnival Barker. He's the best thing that ever happened to the hobby, everybody always says. Cards HQ, owned by Fanatics. That's pretty much, I really don't know. Lou would still want to know my hair routine. Well, let's talk about the hair routine. You need
the pink brush. You need the switchblade pink brush.
Dude, the pink brush. And you know what else it's got that you guys don't know? We can see this trick.
Oh.
Hello there, beautiful. Oh, how you doing? It's got a mirror.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so
you wouldn't use that in the South. That's all I got.
To answer this question, there are actually more vintage dealers going to the show this year, or to the West Coast Card Show, the Burbank show, than normal.
Howie, that's not a dealer.
Howie will be there.
I heard he'll be there. Talk about prices of cards going up, huh?
Mama's little baby loves gouging.
All right, guys. I'll wrap it up with this. Last thing I'll say is, honestly, I mean this more than anybody knows is true. When I started my channel about almost 3 years ago, the last thing I ever expected was to have a night on a Monday night in a random day in August where 250 people would hang out with me and 3 of my closest friends on the planet. And the fact that you all came out means everything to me. It really does. I had a live over a year ago, and I had like 90 people show up, and I almost started crying. Literally, I almost started crying on the live.
Best news. Give them the best news that they're going to get tonight. This is the group that we're going to do for the rest of the year. That's it. That's 4. Only us. Nobody else. It's us.
Well, you might be onto something, Patty. That is definitely a possibility. But I will say that literally this community that we all are in, that we all are participants of, the YouTube community, the sports card community, the midlife community, whatever community is, wherever you're coming from, it means a lot to me. We set a record tonight. You guys mean a lot to me. I love all of you guys, the 3 guys on the screen with me. I can't wait until April. I just wish there was something sooner. I will be at Strongsville.
There's a West Coast show next week.
I'm not going to fly down to a West Coast card show to look at Ash's table. I'll just go on Facebook tonight instead. But 230 people still here. Thank you all. I love you all so much. And we'll catch you in September.
Peace. Love.
Catch you on the flip side.